And I think I totally understand people that are like, man, it's 900 days later. Like, how could you ever trust them again? And I think that I just want to caution everybody. Like, I'm the first guy out there that talks about how pastors shouldn't whine about how hard their job is. Like, I'm the first guy to say that. Whenever someone does, I say, okay, so quit. Good riddance. I don't care. Their job is hard, though. I'm gonna say that, and I think that if we get guys out here that are coherently, repenting, and they do what we've talked about here, where they're like, man, like, this is how I'm never going to be duped again. Like, I was lied to. I should have known. I didn't, but I will know next time, because they're lying to me all the time. They're still lying, right? They're still doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that we should extend as much grace as possible. I'm not saying you have to go to these guys' churches, because there's plenty of good churches out there that didn't fall for this for very long. So I'm not saying you got to go to, Andrew T. Walker's church. We're picking on him. But the reason I'm picking on him is because I think I want to put pressure on him.
You're picking on him because he's the worst, but he's the best of the worst. He's in the worst category, but he's the best of the worst.
I agree. He's not in good company with this vaccine stuff.
Yeah.
Because every time I've been positively mentioning Andrew T. Walker, because he's been saying some pretty awesome stuff.
Really cool.
In my opinion,
I'll have to follow him. Yeah.
I would suggest it, because he's saying stuff that a lot of people in Big Eva aren't saying, and he is in Big Eva 100%. He's totally Big Eva. And anyway, but anyway, my point though is that, like, I'm not saying you have to go to his church. I'm not saying you have to listen to everything he says, but I would say extend grace if someone like that comes out and says, man, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And he can coherently explain why and all that. Because I don't think, look, God doesn't need any of us, but it would be awesome to have more soldiers out here. And listen, a soldier that was, like you said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're not going to
fool me
again.
Twice. Shame on me. George Bush botched the same, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, but I like that. I like it. The point is, you're not going to fool me again. Right. I like that though, because that can be an effective soldier. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I think it can be. So,
well, because I'm that soldier. People. Just for the record, people think like, oh man, Joel's hardcore, and that's why we follow him. But I just, as the Lord expands my influence and uses me and stuff, I want to try to be that guy who's, not self-sabotaging and flogging myself, and never experiencing God's grace and moving on. But I want to be the guy who tells the whole story. You know what I mean? Like, there's some leaders who are just like, they've got spine, they've got gravitas, they've got virtue, but like, one of the reasons they're like so high and lifted up on this pedestal, and like they're awe-inspiring, but they're not. Nobody feels like they'll ever be able to be like them, right?
They don't feel real.
They don't feel real, and they don't feel real because they don't tell the whole story. They don't tell the whole story. You see what they are now, and you see what they want you to see. But they won't tell you the whole story. They won't go, rewind the track and go back and say, hey, for the record, I did close my church like everyone else. Now, here's the difference, though. The difference is it was for 4 weeks and not 4 months, and we never closed it again. And when I opened the door, I owned it. I apologized. It's recorded. You can go and watch the sermon where I apologize, and I didn't just apologize for getting it wrong. I was able to articulate exegetically how I got it wrong, and my new exegesis that is actually biblically faithful that will keep me from getting it wrong in the future. But there's not a lot of guys like. Every guy who's solid is solid. He wasn't born out of the womb solid. He became solid by doing exactly what I just described. Yeah. And I guess I just wish some of these guys would tell the story every once in a while of the process of how God sanctified them to that. Like, everybody has a track record of getting some things wrong. Like if you think baptizing infants is right, well, guess what? Doug used to be wrong then. Right? Because he was a Baptist pastor. He had to change in that. And he lost every single elder in the church when he made that change. And you know what I mean? Like nobody just starts with
Yeah.
all their ducks in a row. And so I
I
think
do
it's
know
helpful.
what you're saying.
It's helpful to tell the whole story, not in every podcast, not every sermon, not, you know what I mean? Like, but from time to time, like, we're not just picking on the guys who are 900 days late, and saying we were never late. My argument is not that I knew all these things. My argument is I missed it too. But it took me 28 days by the grace of God. And if it took you 900 days, in the same way that I had to give an explanation, I had to give an account for my 28 days of stupidity, man, I want to see a heck of
That's a
an
big
account for that 900 days of stupidity. You know what I mean? I think that's
Listen,
only
maybe
fair.
maybe it's because I just got back from the Fight Laugh Feast conference, or maybe I'm just a big softie. But I have a lot of hope that this is going to happen at some level. I don't know how many people, but I think there's going to be some big names. As more information comes out, I think they're going to do it, and I'm hopeful, man. I'm hopeful it's going to be like a tidal wave after that. So we'll see.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Thanks for sticking around. I've got an important announcement to make. That's the Theonomy and Postmillennialism Conference 2023, May 5th, 6th, and 7th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Theonomy and Postmillennialism. We've got the speakers that we've already had lined up. That's Dr. James White, Dr. Joseph Boot, Dr. Gary DeMar, non-doctor Pastor Joel Webbin. But we also have a bonus speaker, and that is Dale Partridge from Real Christianity. Perhaps you've heard of him. If not, you should start listening to his podcast. It's fantastic. Dale Partridge is going to be joining our team. We're going to have live panels on Friday night and Saturday night where you'll be able to write in questions and get them answered. We're also going to have a catered barbecue, Texas-style barbecue meal on Friday that's a part of your registration fee. All that is covered, so you need to get there. This is how you do it. Go and register right now at rightresponseconference.com. Again, that's rightresponseconference.com. God bless.